Hello, and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix, of the Smoke Room. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that make this game, and or get the news version earlier, then you can go to their Patreon, where it's $3 a month. So, on the last Let's Play, we went to go get a suit fitting in, and Murdoch was being very distant, at which point, and, a bit confrontational, at which point I'm like, dude, the heck's your problem? And he's like, you're sleeping with him, aren't you? And they're like, well, yeah, it's my job. And he's like, I am too. And it's like, oh, But the whole situation behind that isn't because he wanted to, but because they know him and his sister and stuff that he is at least gay, maybe bisexual or something like that, and he's used to the swinging lifestyle of the city. Which point he's like, well, their whole thing is that what it could possibly be keeping him here is, Murdoch putting out. He's not doing it for fun. And it was a lot. It was that, and also how they feel about themselves. Oh yeah, and I can't remember exactly how we went through it, but he kind of suspects that we are the person that killed what's his name from the mines, and also we found out that Nick was avoiding us because he's kind of a witness. So yeah, he didn't want to possibly get killed by us, which fair enough. Didn't really think about Nick at that point. It'd be interesting to go through his whole thing. I do miss the route that I went through where I had the option to immediately confess, and I did, and we had our name cleared. Not by the law because we were hiding since we might get lynched, but, it was nice to be able to be like, I'm pretty much a free man. Mostly free conscience, because it's self-defense. But yeah, and we finished our tailoring, so let's start. I feel a little bad leaving Murdoch after learning all that. But I have questions for his future brother-in-law. And I ain't too keen to have Murdoch see what I'm like if I'm gonna get awful angry. I remember Jim mentioned he'd be at the pawn shop. I know where that is. All too well, in fact. I swapped so many coins and tickets and keepsakes for those damn double eagles. The bell on the door jingles when I walk through. I don't see anybody at the cash register, but I do see the black and white tail of a marbled fox as he stoops over a glass display case. He doesn't seem too bothered or preoccupied with the notion that somebody just entered the store. I fantasize about smashing his head into the case for a moment. The thing holding me back most is all the property damage. Finish up the suit fittings. He doesn't look up, still focused on the casing. Bit quick for a fitting. There wasn't much work to be done. The light comes out a bit quickly, and Jim quirks an eyebrow? Don't be so hasty. You're a bit wider and taller than most folks in town. He looks me up and down. Or out of town. You look smart with the right fit. Wait, you'd look smart. Might come in handy for someone in your position even after the ceremony. I do catch his drift. I didn't. You like the view, so to speak? I do. Even if I have a bad habit of ruining them. Oh. This one does like making his messes. Good. Stay comfortable, Jim. I look down on the display case and see a large variety of rings in the display case. You seem like you're in a bit of a mess yourself. What are you hunting? You didn't strike me as the nosy type. I smile. Oh, I'm very nosy. Don't bother telling me if it's boring, though. He smiles back. I'm afraid it is. I'm going to switch positions. A big white polar bear comes lumbering out from behind the back. I've talked to him plenty, but never really got around to asking his name. He's all business. Sorry, kid. No diamonds in stock the size you want. Jim cursed under his breath. Of course there aren't. Then what do you have? Here's one that will fit the inlay? Flint. Citrine? He takes a step forward, stooping over the boxes and inspecting them with his eyes. The cuts could be better, but I'll take that one. The third citrine from the left. It won't cost you much. Of course it won't. We're practically bathing in citrine. Sorry, I gotta do that thing. It's like, okay, what's citrine? Yellow crystal. Yellow to red-orange variety of crystalline quartz. Interesting. Looks nice. He sighs deeply. Also, did I check my face? Not really. It will match my fiance's eyes, and reminder of home. That should work, I think. I'll get it ready then. The polar bear lumbers to the back of the store again. Also, here's the thing. I think other gemstones are... Sorry, all of a sudden that came out of nowhere. Are a lot better than diamonds. Diamonds are way more expensive than they ought to be. Because, they're much more common than they are. At least, in stores and stuff. And also they're pretty plain. Good. Holly's ring, huh? Clearly. Cutting it a bit close for something less than a week away, you think? He shrugs. The only thing that matters is that it doesn't look cheap. It's just a token. Of your marriage? Traditionally speaking. No, I don't care a whit for tradition. True enough. I lower my voice. I suppose it's not very traditional to break in your fiance's brother. Okay, we're going there. His eyes widen, and then he looks around. Then he laughs as he speaks. Best not to discuss any dalliances here? Dalliances? Be they true or flights of fancy. It's only us here. We're no strangers to sharing secrets. You could say we have a kinship of sorts. He looks a little pale, looking around. Oh, do we? Well, I could get on my knees and beg you to agree. Now, he's taken a deep breath. But of course, what I'm really talking about is that I've plowed him too. Ah. Jim's scowl turns into a smirk. Well, what can I say? The whole family seems to love me. Okay, but what about the glasses girl? Also, I might need to go get some water. Sorry, all of a sudden... It's funny, as soon as I started this, my throat's like, hey, do you want to feel like there's like a chip in it or something? Though I suppose the brother does go the extra mile when he needs that and it's scratched. Oh. Maybe he was just having sex with one of them. He sure is talking about this casually. Though I have to say, he should probably pace himself. Like, it's not a big deal? He asks quite a bit. Oh, does he? I have to wonder if that's true. though from the tone and the sheer flippancy of his statements, I'm inclined to believe him. I guess I don't really know what Jim knows. Considering the precariousness of the whole situation, I suppose it's possible Jim doesn't know. And I'm really the only one Murdoch has ever told to about the situation. Wait, am I? It's possible he could have told Ralph. Wait, it's possible he could have told Ralph? No, it isn't. He'd blow it up. Fair enough. I don't feel like I need to knock Jim's teeth out anymore. But I'm still angry. And I'm not sure who I should direct it at. The doorbell rings again, and I look to see who enters next. Is everybody finished up here? Jim pulls out a silver pocket watch and flicks open the clasp. As much as I'd like to be, for now. My work requires me in 15 minutes. Oh, does it? Then I suppose we should be on our way as well. Back to the store for us, Sam. Right. He gives us a stiff nod. Till next time, gentlemen. I follow Murdoch as he heads to the doorway. Jim is looking at his backside with a sideways glance. At his backside. Then turns back to the jewelry case. How do you look at your backside? Telling by how busy things are getting outside, I guess it's close to noon. You didn't say anything to make him uncomfortable, did you, Sam? No. Not as uncomfortable as I would have liked to, no. He doesn't strike me as somebody easy to make uncomfortable. He puts his arm in front of me to stop me from walking, as loud and as a loud and noisy wagon passes us by. Are you dodging my question? I feel like my left whiskers twitch. I did say some things. Mostly just what I know Mostly just that I know he's having a go at you. But don't worry. It rolled right off of him. And what did that accomplish? I mean, that's a good question. This guy tells you this thing in confidence. You immediately walk up to the guy and is like, hey, I know you're fucking him. It's like, I mean, I would want to confront somebody, but then it's also like, seriously, you really just went there. And this guy probably doesn't want you to tell him that. Not much, I don't think. But I saw it put some fear in him. Sometimes men need a little fear when they take things too lightly. And sometimes a little fear can make things worse. I rub my nose. Well, sorry if it does. You're welcome if it doesn't. Well, I'm sure he was bound to ask if you knew already, eventually. Let's not linger on it. I don't think I should mention anything about the ring. The fact that he was buying it as late as he was isn't a comforting sign. I don't think Murdoch needs anything else to feel anxious about. By the time we go back to the store, we're surprised to see a sign in front of the door. Temporarily closed, come back in an hour. It doesn't seem normal. It isn't. Pa doesn't close at lunchtime typically. He pulls out a key from his pocket and fiddles with the lock. You at least then change the locks or anything. The cool air in the dark store is a nice reprieve from the heat. As we walk close to the cash register, I expect to hear Ralph in the back room cursing while he works. And I certainly do. But I also hear another voice. A familiar voice. You sure you haven't seen him? Him? Who's him? The voice inside my head is laughing. Not today, Sheriff. You might find him if you check the north of Lake Emma, like we told you to. Don't get saucy with me. We did check the lake. There's nothing down there aside from a defunct mining tunnel. By checking the bottom of it, I guarantee you'll find somebody. Maybe more. My deputy's a damn otter. Good point. I mean, I guess the lake isn't the same as like other stuff, so it might be a bit clear. But like, yeah, I guess if you got an otter, they can just do that stuff. It would be pretty damn useful, you know? If there's something down there, he's surely seen it. With eyes as wide apart as his, I could probably mow down half of the town in front of him, and he'd miss it. Not one bit of that now. Focus. Tell me where you think his routine would take him on a typical day like this. There's an edge to his tone. The slow slur in his speech from a few nights ago is gone. Will is back to the old Will I know, the one who picks out a single word from a sentence and chases it all the way to the hiding place in your thoughts. So, like, he's deciphering what you say? I don't like the sound of this conversation. Neither does Murdoch, by the look in his face. His expression tells me I should hide, and I agree with it. I feel that would make it worse. Though I guess, William here isn't the same William as the William where I immediately confessed. Anyways, and I'd be able to follow through with his plan if it wasn't for the man I ran? Murdoch's father. Oh, there he is. Out here, Seraph Adler. He's here. There's something sharp and shrill in the man's voice that I can hear now that I didn't hear before. A shaky kind of gleefulness that you might expect to hear from a man who's just misplaced blackmail of a rival, but just found it beneath his couch cushions. It's such a quick and sudden burst of energy from an otherwise aloof old man that it takes me off guard. The door of the pharmacy opens and William walks out with a surprised look on his face. That was quick. Good. Now, I don't have to chase you down. He looks more put together than how he looked looked a couple of nights ago, but the bags under his eyes are much worse. Sure, Sheriff. The fur on the back of my neck is prickling. What do you need? Just your cooperation. He turned to Mr. Briars. Is there a back room I could use that isn't stinking up the air with chemicals? I feel like I'm practically swimming on the fumes. Of course. The older fox opened his mouth like he was about to say something, then closed it again. Almost like he had confused himself. I can show you where that is. Right, he can do that. He stroked his chin and jerked his head towards the hallway. Then he glared at Murdoch. Good, we can open before we lose all of our luncheon crowd. Luncheon? Handle this. Of course. The room isn't far. He walks me and the sheriff down the narrow hall. It would be stupid as hell to make a run of it now or for it. But I still think about it. Right then. I have a few points to cover, and let me reset my face just in case. I would have asked sooner, but my hands were tied. Ask away? Okay. Sure, Sheriff. What were you up to about a month ago when you received that head injury walking back from the mines? That was a while ago, Will. Hard to forget an assault, though, ain't it? He had a head injury, no? Me and Will both look at Murdoch. You a doctor all of a sudden, Fox? Well, no, but I have had a concussion before. Since when? Since I was a teenager. It was one of the worst days of my life, and I don't remember most of it. Even the parts I was probably awake for. Well, he was well enough to walk his way home. Nick helped me back, actually. I know. But Nick didn't help me back. He saw me and I walked off. He says the line with confidence, but now he doesn't look so sure of what he's looking for. He's the one who told me about this. He said something about attacking me for my work, but it's still a bit fuzzy. He said something about attacking me for my work. He said something about attacking me for my work. He's the one who... I'm just gonna print screen. I mean, the words go together, but in my mind it doesn't make any sense compared to what it is. Are you saying Nick saw who attacked you? Maybe. I feel a pang of guilt. This puts suspicion more on Nick than on myself. Though I can't feel bad about it if he told Will before talking to me about it again. I can't be sure though. You don't remember anything about who attacked you? Well, I know it was from behind. Because it was. Well, yes. And I couldn't see his face. Because he snuffed out the light. But you say it was a he? There's an edge in the tone. Unless James was hiring a woman to work the mines. Was James the guy that died? And why are you at the mines? Must have been seeing a client. Just a client? I mean, it is a client we saw. They come and go, and I can't remember them all. Will's eyes flick to Murdoch when I say client, and I catch some hint of concern, but Murdoch nods. Will sighs. Though I might have been visiting Nick. Can't really say. Wish I could. Will pulls out a notebook from his pocket and scrolls a few things down. Well, that about sums things up on my end. And what? Why are you here in the first place? You sounded pretty urgent. Mr. Briars asked me over. He did? Yes, indeedly. Said staff around the store were acting peculiar. Then you were one of the folks he name-dropped. And then I remembered we had unfinished business to take care of. Fuck's sake, Will. Don't you click your sandpaper tongue at me. Sandpaper? It's still mostly in the dark with respect to all the goddamn incidents occurring as of late. I'm still mostly in the dark with respect to all the incidents? When do you mean all the incidents? Either of you want to fill me in on anything or what? I developed the photos for you, but over half of them have been corrupted. Over half? I thought I corrupted just the one. Well, that's just peaches. But we did see what looked like somebody assaulting and dumping a body down by the lake. I know. I told you that we looked. So, if there's nothing there, then neither the bodies are well hidden, or the lake is carrying them away. If there's bodies there at all, sure. I assure you that there is certainly someone down there if you know how to look for it. Bodies that get swept away tend to float, or something might have come up. But if we sweep the shoreline for months and there's still a killer out there, then I'd rather put our efforts we spent on stopping him before he makes another corpse. Or her. Makes it? Oh, because it could be a lady doing it. William rolls his eyes. You've been spending too much time with your sisters. Predators in these cases are almost always men. You think it's predator? Truth be told, I don't think it's just one killer. And that makes it messy for me because that means that I can't pare the events down to a single motive like lust or greed or desperation. So maybe you're right, and one of them is running around with a skirt. I just don't think that it's as likely, considering the usual flair for tragic events that I investigate. He trails off as he glances at the two of us. So, this isn't related to anything we've been talking about. But, do I have this right? He fixes his eyes on Murdoch and jerks his head to me. Is he working for you now? It's just part-time. I need the money. And how exactly did this proposition come to pass? Don't recall seeing any wanted flyers when I passed by. Last time I saw you two together before, that night visit to my office was at the hip. I thought it was strange at first, but now I think I get it. He smirked. Mr. Briars. I recall you tell me once that you were above paying for something you could get for free. What changed? I think he's trying to sound playful, but it sounds more like he's suspicious. Murdoch merely shrugged. He expressed honest interest in honest work. So I put the offer on the table, and he took it. Will nods and grunts out a high-pitched one-note laugh. Honest work, huh? Your daddy seems convinced that's the case, at least. Let's hope it stays that way. He walks to the door and puts his paw on the handle. But before he turns it, he spins around. And if it doesn't, and what I think is going on, then maybe Sam should teach you a thing or two about his profession. He gives Murdoch a slow look up and down. I could work off some extra steam. Damn, Will, that's pretty straightforward. He's like, well, if he's gonna teach you to fuck, then I think I'll take a round with you. Eh? Seems like it could be your forte. If there's anything important for me to know, I'll be in touch. For me to know? Yeah. Then he slipped through the door and shut it softly behind him. We wait and listen by the door. Was there anything amiss, Sheriff? No, not to my judgment, no. Thank God. I'll leave you to that. I really don't like being around Murdoch's father. Seems like one moment he's shaking your hand, thanking you for blessing the ground you walk on. Next moment, it's like you're a soldier caught behind enemy lines. If I didn't know better, I think that the difference in his relationships between a customer and employee. I think that's the difference between this relation. Okay. But it just seems like sometimes he generally can't tell the difference at any given time. It's completely unpredictable. He's got dementia, maybe. Not sure. Murdoch scratched the back of his head. So, Sam. Yes, Murdoch? Was he being a prick, or was he offering to buy me? Probably both. I tilt my head and shrug. Pays well. I don't need the money. But it sounds like you're thinking about it. He puts his hands in his pockets. Well, might be exciting. I smirk at him. It is. He sighs and shakes his head. He'd probably respect me less if I took him up on anything. So let him respect you less. That's weird. That's business. Not really. Because I still respect you more than anyone I know. I whistle. That's so. Expect him to blush or get bashful, but he just nods his head slowly. I think it is. But anyway, we have a lot of work to do today. I saw the film delivery box, and I think we should clear it out as fast as possible. Do you really need me in the red room? I'd rather just clean, or take stock of merchandise, or do some heavy lifting. It would help. There's going to be an unbelievable amount of photography work for the pantries, parties, and the wedding. I agree to help him, but I don't see the point in me being in there. Something bad happened last time, and it'll probably happen this time too. And I think with us changing scenes, that's a good time to call it. You woof. Well, things went better than expected. So, please comment, guys. I like comments, tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise, if you like my YouTube and links you grow. Then please like, subscribe, and check out the rest of the Epic Room. Please expand your Amazon to control the population. I'm getting a little bit of chocolate and some water because my throat's up for some reason. Didn't do a lot of talking today. Well, whatever. And if you want to play this game, free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the news version earlier, Patreon. At $3 a month. And until next month's pay. I think it's $3. Me, GamerWolfSix, of the Smoke Room. So thanks and see ya.